Hi, kiddo. How was your day? Oh, it's been one of those, huh? People do sometimes drive you nuts. That's just how people do, I'm afraid. So, who was it, if that's an answerable question? Hmm. I feel like this is a repeating pattern with them, isn't it? Uh huh. And how did you respond to all that? Hmm. It is rough, isn't it? That's balance for you. If you say nothing, you're the only one who knows that there is a problem in the first place. But then again, if you blow up every time, oh, that is definitely not a problem with you, so don't even worry about it. I'm tempted to say that these things are always worth considering, but I don't think they always are, because if we always consider them, then we'll end up stuck in our own head. Well, uncomfortably, I'm afraid that annoying people are a part of life, and we just have to learn to live with them one way or the other. Yeah, I'm not telling you to be a stoic and go accept everything away. That never works, and it's also putting all the work on you, which is not fair. I guess what I am saying is that if someone does drive you nuts now and then, at least you're not stuck in an echo chamber and you're being pushed outside your comfort zone. Yeah. One can only wish that being pushed outside the comfort zone would be done with more care and tenderness and less aggressive nonsense. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I do see your point. But, it's the story of the phoenix all over again. You go through the fire, and then you come out the other side, reborn, different, new in a sense, but still you. Yeah, I think most growth is going to be a bit like that. Somewhat uncomfortable, but also amazing in its own right. Yeah, I know, I know. I'm not I'm not really saying that we should be grateful for people being annoying. I'm just choosing a constructive perspective. I hope that doesn't come through as rewriting your story or anything. I'm glad to hear it. I do see the discomfort. I just also think that you will find a way forward from this. This is a seed of sorts for something better. That certainly isn't all it is, but it's in there. It's part of it, you know? Yeah, something like that. Well, yeah, Phoenix. We do actually have something slightly reminiscent of the phoenix in the Nordic myths. This is probably going to sound very familiar, if nothing else because I've talked about it before. But Idun is the goddess of spring and youth. Let's call it youth. And she's kidnapped. Uh huh. And the person who makes this possible in the first place then is Loki. Yeah, I know. Always something to do with him. But also, I feel like he gets a little bit of a bad rap. Well, the reason all his treasoning is actually working is because he does sometimes use his big brain to help. Like when Thor lost his hammer, Loki was absolutely instrumental in getting it back. Yeah, that is true. Arguably, this is also one of the stories where Loki comes to save the day. He did kind of mess up the day, and then he had to be tortured and threatened with death and terrible, terrible pain. But after some classic Viking persuasion, he did end up, you know, fixing the problem that he himself caused. Well, this time around, he lured Eden out in the forest where she was kidnapped by a giant who had taken the shape of a giant eagle. As the goddess of spring and youth, she had the power to rejuvenate, to keep the gods from withering and dying in spite of their ancient age. Yeah, I think that could make her a prime target for some damseling. And as powers go, it's both very desirable and also entirely rubbish at, say, offensive capabilities and such. As a bonus, stealing her away means that Thor and the others are deprived of her gift of life, energy, and youthfulness. Well, they were still divine beings, so it's not like they were going to just wither and die and that was the end of that. But they were getting weak and old and also worried and not very happy about it. So they were pretty quick to conclude that maybe the traitor guy did it. Well, it is often the role he plays. And this time he had been seen walking her into the forest, which was definitely not looking good for him. Under threat of death, torture, and all such things, he did agree to right his wrong. I wouldn't go so far as to call it character growth, but he did at least set out to mend things, which is a very good start. Well, he turned into a falcon, and then just went into the forest. He had been talking to this giant, like there was a plan going on, so he just tracked him down, found Eden, turned her into an actual nut and carried her away. He literally did. I haven't tried it in the literal sense, but it's probably terribly uncomfortable and vulnerable, objectifying, strictly speaking. But if we look past all that, she is sort of turned into a new beginning. Maybe this is just me, but I feel that there are some very phoenixy themes going on here. Yes, the fire is just about to enter the picture. So, Loki was a bird, and this giant, last we saw him, was transformed into a bigger bird. And so he just hunted Loki all the way back home. But once he crossed the barrier and actually was home, there was a pile of sawdust, basically, waiting, and he dove for it. And his friends lit it aflame. And because Loki was, cunning and quick and generally perceptive, he just whooshed away. And the really big giant guy was not so easy to maneuver and crashed into the fire and burned pretty much. Well, for those who are in the wrong and not ready to change course, rage will burn them. Soon after the fire, everyone was given a bite of Eden's apples and were rejuvenated, made young and strong once more. And that is as phoenixy as that story gets, but I think it's close enough. Oh, yeah, it was apples, golden apples. Like the start of the Trojan War, actually. No, I'm not saying there's a real connection there. I just feel like she's giving this gift of rejuvenation, of youth, of life, essentially, and it is tied intrinsically to apples, the fruit of conflict. Well, yeah, there is definitely something to that. I'm not saying that you always need to find a conflict to stay young, because you can definitely get stuck in those patterns as well. Well, not you, more so people in general. But there is something to be said about growing from discomfort and all that. Yeah, that's true. It's like muscles. They can't actually grow if you are always straining them, always training them. There's also need for actual comfort, actual rest. Maybe now is the time for comfort and rest more than anything. Well, it sounds like you have had an exciting day and you've had to use up a lot of youthful energy, shall we say. Sometimes I think I can look at things from a perspective that is a little bit too simple and too bright compared to looking at it from the inside on account of I am not you. Thanks, kiddo. You know I only mean what is the best for you, but then again, that's never an excuse. And if I ever turn you into a nutcase, I hope you threaten me with, well, maybe not torture and death, but just let me know and I will stand corrected and do my best, okay? Well, maybe it's my turn then to not have an easy time, but that's alright. I'm ready to grow and change for you if that's what it takes. Yeah, and sometimes growth and change can wait for a while. Well, I'm ready to do that as well. You see, I love you always, and I always want the best for you. I do. But I also trust you to know better than me what the best for you actually is. Yeah, I can only do my best as you can only do yours. Hmm. Well, right here, right now, I think there's only one thing that you need to do. Okay, well, if you count being loved as a thing to do, then being loved and resting makes two. But point is, this is your home. This is a place where you can rest. And this is a time where you can relax. No giants, no birds, no fires, no nothing. Just safety and love. That is all there is and all that needs to be. I love you, kiddo. Always will. The fruits were apples, and apples are the fruits of conflict, which Loki does. No, not him, just low key, does mean that there's something to connect here with conflicts and such. Yeah, it's true. I'm always looking for parallels and things to extrapolate. I just look at the stories that way, I guess. But anyway, she was kidnapped, and as a reason, she was kidnapped, and as a consequence of this, the gods began to wither and die in their old age.